The 2010s saw the rise of swatting, which is most often described as a person calling up emergency services and trying to get a SWAT team deployed on their victim's house. While thankfully this usually doesn't turn deadly, in other cases, it does. On December 28, 2017, 8 competitive players of the game Call of Duty World War II participated in a cash-out match of the game's Search and Destroy mode. The stakes were low, with a wager of a measly $1.15. Played to the best of 3, this match concluded with the defeat of a team simply called LOL. Rather than just paying up the pocket change and moving on, the losing teammates began bickering. Specifically, 2 players named Shane Gaskill and Casey Viner, who went by their gamer tags Miracle and Baptizer respectively. Apparently, one had accidentally killed the other in a mistake that cost them the match. This argument soon moved to Twitter, escalating to the point of Casey threatening to swat his teammate. Be it out of pride or more likely sheer stupidity, Shane thought it would be best to stoke the flame some more. He decided to give the irate Call of Duty player the address of a home in Kansas that his family had lived in prior and acted like he was still a resident there. He then began taunting Casey, stating that he'd be waiting for him. Unfortunately, the threats of swatting were more than just trash talk, as the Twitter feud caused Casey to enlist the help of a Twitter user known as Swatistic to take care of the Kansas-based player. As you may have guessed from his username Swatistic, real name Tyler Barriss built his entire internet presence around swatting. His most infamous stunts at the time included calling a fake bomb threat to a Dallas convention center, a Florida high school, and the Federal Communication Commission meeting regarding net neutrality. Tyler had a criminal record for not just domestic abuse, but also for hoax bomb threats he'd made against several primary schools and a Los Angeles news station. To show how much of a menace he was, in a private message dated a week prior to the incident, he bragged that he had swatted nearly 10 homes and over 100 different schools. When Tyler began taking note of the gaming disagreement over $1.15, Shane once again sent his family's previous home address out, practically begging the serial swatter to do what he did best. This hubris led Barriss to immediately call the emergency operators in Wichita, pretending to be a resident of the home in question. To make his 911 call look legitimate, he first obscured his location to appear as if he were actually from the Wichita area. He then claimed that he'd shot his father in the head and was holding the rest of his family at gunpoint. He then threatened to burn the entire house to the ground, all in a calculated attempt to get the police to raid the premises.
Yeah.
This is 911. What's going on?
I recently got disconnected. I had told you guys everything that happened about the argument with my mom and dad.
Law enforcement responded to the threat almost immediately, even sending their own officers in place of a SWAT team due to the perceived urgency. The cops quickly surrounded the residence before announcing their presence to those inside. This was when 28-year-old Andrew Finch went to go out to check on the commotion. Upon opening the front door, he was met with an officer named Justin Rapp. Andrew screamed in fear, causing the officer to shoot him in reflex. According to police testimony, Rapp claimed to have seen Finch motion with his hand. The bullet struck Finch, piercing his heart and right lung. Police then handcuffed Andrew's family and confiscated several of their belongings. Andrew was subsequently transported to the hospital, which is when he was pronounced dead. The only crime he had committed being that he lived in the former house of a Call of Duty trash talker. In the following hours after the murder, local authorities realized that the call was a hoax, causing the emergency response to turn into a full-fledged homicide investigation. The incident quickly received extensive media coverage, as the dangers many had perceived about swatting for years were finally realized. Meanwhile, as Andrew's widow and 2 children were mourning the senseless loss of their father, the 3 gamers responsible for his death continued bickering amongst themselves online. Shane continued to bluff, claiming he hadn't been swatted, even attempting to bait Tyler into swatting him again. On top of this, at 6 p.m., Tyler began threatening to swat a Call of Duty event set to take place in New Orleans, The threats were made publicly to a member of the FaZe clan in attendance. They acted as if things would continue as usual. It wouldn't be for another few hours after Andrew's death that the three began to realize the gravity of their actions, and the fact that they may actually be held accountable for their sins. We'll learn more about this after a brief message from our sponsor. If you're in need of new earbuds, a pair of Raycons might just be the right choice for you. The company was co-founded by Ray J, and Raycon offers their wireless earbuds in a range of fun colors and patterns. They're super comfortable and come with a variety of fit options. Celebrities like Snoop Dogg, J.R. Smith, and Mike Tyson are obsessed with their Raycons and the sound quality of them. I personally love my everyday E25 earbuds as they have 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a compact design that gives you a nice, noise-isolating fit. Raycon's being generous for the holidays, so on top of their everyday great prices, they're offering all my viewers 15% off right now, so you can save big on gift shopping. Click the link in the description box or go to buyraycon.com/mysteries to get 15% off your Raycon purchase. Again, that's buyraycon.com/mysteries to get 15% off today. As details of the murder began to emerge, a now startled Shane began frantically messaging Tyler to figure out what to do. In a turn of events, they were now working together to cover up the murder. This scheme clearly didn't work, as chat logs between Shane and Tyler were released by law enforcement during the trial, reading as follows: DM ASAP. Please, it's very effing important. What do you want? Dude, me, you, and Casey need to delete everything. This is a murder case now. Casey deleted everything, you need to as well. This isn't a troll anymore. At 10 PM, seemingly heeding Shane's warning, Tyler tweeted out the logic that he didn't get anyone killed because he didn't discharge a weapon, and wasn't one of the officers. Unsurprisingly, he didn't realize how this didn't absolve him of guilt, as the federal government was now tracking him down. Tyler was arrested within 24 hours after the SWAT call, though within that time frame he managed to appear for an interview on Drama Alert with Keemstar, where he didn't seem fazed by what he had done. Here he admitted to being the one that made the call, while in the same breath stating that he wasn't worried much about the FBI.
What about this? What about this where the person someone got killed because of this? You're not worried about that?
Yeah. Am I? Well, what do you mean I'm not worried about that?
Are you worried that they'll find you, that the FBI will find you and you'll be arrested and charged for this?
I mean, I think about it. I mean, I've thought about a lot of stuff. I mean, worried, yeah, but currently not so much.
Within a few hours, Tyler was arrested at the rehab facility he was living in and held without bail. Interestingly, he wasn't even held for the prior day swatting incident, but instead for the aforementioned false bomb threats he made against the Los Angeles news station. Only a few weeks later, however, he was extradited to Kansas, where he faced trial for involuntary manslaughter. By May, all three involved in the initial Call of Duty conflict were facing charges. Tyler was charged with false reports, terroristic threats, as well as cyberstalking resulting in death. The other two were charged for their attempts to obstruct justice by deleting incriminating evidence. Unsurprisingly, Tyler's long history of swatting finally caught up to him, as prosecutors wanted to make an example out of the young man. By October of 2018, 46 more charges were filed against Tyler, all relating to hundreds of incidents he'd openly bragged about less than a year prior. An airtight case, if you will. Less than a month after that, he admitted defeat, pleading guilty to 51 federal charges. On March 29, 2019, Tyler Barriss was finally sentenced to 20 years in prison, with his sentence stipulating that he had to write a formal apology to the Finch family. In spite of admitting guilt, Tyler didn't seem to learn his lesson at all. A little over a week later, a technology breach at his prison facility temporarily allowed inmates to access the internet for a few hours. In this time, Tyler logged on to an old Twitter account to threaten to swat again, claiming that he was a quote-unquote e-god. This cemented many people's view that the serial swatter had no plans of changing his ways, and was best kept behind bars to protect the rest of society. Even though the three boys faced repercussions for their actions, the officer responsible for the actual shooting of an unarmed innocent man was never charged in the wrongful death of Andrew Finch, with an open records request regarding a 911 call being denied by the local government to this very day. The death was classified as a justifiable homicide, exonerating the officer from any responsibility. This wouldn't be the end of the victim's family's hardship either, because in 2019, Finch's 18-year-old niece, Adelina, committed suicide. She had witnessed her uncle's death, and Andrew's mother blamed the mental trauma as a result of the incident for her poor psychological state. As of 2020, the family is currently suing the Wichita Police Department for millions of dollars in compensation. So there you have the story of the world's most prolific swatter, and hopefully since he's behind bars for many decades, he won't be able to hurt anyone else. But still, there are many others like him out there. So until next time, be safe.